Hello, everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. So, a couple of days back, the US government committee basically published a report on Operation Sindoor, which I feel was pretty intriguing given the claims that were there in it. First of all, you remember on the 7th of May, after successful strikes on 9 terror camps by our Indian Air Force, including Bahawalpur and Muridke, you remember the barrage of social media posts came claiming 6 Indian jets downed, saying that 3 Rafales were downed and all. Well, the brain behind that propaganda was Beijing. Clearly, because Beijing is the brain behind anything that Pakistan does in a geostrategic context. And I'm sure Pakistan does not have the diplomatic might or the intellectual capability to mobilize so many bot accounts on X, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and they don't basically have the lobbying power to write paid articles all over the English media and global media in general. So, China was definitely the guiding light behind Pakistan's misinformation campaign. However, why China? Why would China be so jealous, or why would it borderline hate the Rafale? It's simple, because Rafale is a much better aircraft than anything that China has in its class. If you make a realistic comparison of the J-10C and the Rafale excels in everything from combat radius to the EW suite to air to ground capability, air to air capability, pretty much anything. Rafale is in a totally different class, more comparable to the F-15EX or the Su-35. J-10C doesn't stand anywhere else, and don't take my word for it. Just let's compare the export success that the two jets have received. When in 2012, during the MRFA competition, when India declared Rafale as the winner, after that there has just been order after order that Dassault Aviation has been winning. 36 orders for land-based Rafales by India. Then 26 naval Rafales also ordered by New Delhi. 54 Rafales were ordered by Egypt. Then Qatar went ahead with 24. Croatia and Serbia with 12 each. Then you had a huge order of 80 fighter jets by the UAE. So there is order after order that Rafale is winning. Even Indonesia, a country believed to be close to China, finalized an order of 42 Rafales and has signed a letter of intent for acquiring more. So hence, Operation Sindoor has bolstered export success of the Rafale. Even Taiwan and Armenia are considering them. In fact, India itself has reaffirmed its faith in the system and wants to order 114 more. Whereas when you talk of J-10C, there is no real success that that platform has gotten in the global fighter jet market except for Pakistan. And even Pakistan, let me tell you, friends, has ordered it because of financial constraints back in 2022. Their first preference was indeed Eurofighter Typhoon or Block 70 F-16s, but because of financial constraints and because of soft loans and concessions that Beijing often grants to Islamabad, Pakistan went ahead with it. However, there was one more interesting part of it in which the US, after having done so much on totally justified amount of Chinese bashing, it said that Pakistan established military supremacy over New Delhi. Now, this is in particular important because it again underscores the importance of PSYOPs. By bashing China and Pakistan, the US made Indian readers more sympathetic to the report. And then by slipping in these two lines that Pakistan established military superiority, it has downplayed two systems. First of all, the Rafale, and second, the S-400. Now, it's understandable as to why the US would be in particular so jealous of the S-400 because of the miracles that this system did. 800 drones flew in from the Pakistani side, and S-400 stood like tip of the spear, shooting down everything. Even the failed attempt of the Pakistani JF-17s trying to destroy the S-400. Not only were the jets themselves destroyed by the bear, but even the CM-400 AKG, so-called hypersonic missile, was shot down as seen from the wreckage found in Punjab. So S-400 was brilliant. Not just JF-17s, two F-16s were downed by this system. One Saab area AVAX was taken down deep into Pakistani territory, 314 kilometers deep. And once you compare it with American systems, such as the THAAD, the Patriot, well, if you've been following Russia Ukraine war, every 10 to 15 days you see either a Patriot launcher has been destroyed, or some of its radar has been destroyed, or in some cases the command post altogether has been obliterated either by a Kinzhal or by an Iskander missile. So the only department in which the US air defense systems can match the S-400 is the price tag, and in every other department the Russian bear far outmatches anything that the Americans have to bring to the table. But why the intent behind maligning Rafale? Why would the US want to undermine that? In fact, France, as you all know, is a key NATO ally. In fact, Paris is one of the most ardent backers of this illegal proxy war against Russia, which is being perpetuated by Washington. So, why tarnish Rafale? Well, go back to 2012. The MRFA competition, which I told you about, the Rafale was put against 7 other jets of his category, and 2 of them were US fighter jets, the F-16 and the F-18. Both those jets fell short as compared to the Rafale. And in fact, I remember the then US ambassador came out and said that he's quote unquote disappointed by the results. And now, being a diplomat, he should have known that field evaluation trials and defense procurements are a sensitive matter. You do not speak about these outside of the power corridors. Well, he went ahead and did it. So, Rafale has put a huge scar on the heart of the military industrial complex of the US. Even Rafale induction in India was not without raising some eyebrows, at least in Washington. And in case of S-400, we obviously know the entire episode, we almost dodged the bullet known as Katsa while procuring this. But whatever Washington or Beijing feel, it has no reverberations on us. As I mentioned, we have expressed strong intent to go for 114 more Rafales. And just earlier this month, Defense Minister Rajnath Singh, in an interview to First Post, has said that India definitely wants and needs more S-400 batteries, and that if the Russians are willing to offer us, we are willing to go for it 100%. So, I believe that we need at least 10 to 12 of these more, keeping in mind our extensive borders with China, with Pakistan, even with Bangladesh now, new adversary. We need 10 to 12 more pieces in addition to the 5 which have been ordered already. So I hope the details were clear in this video, my dear friends. As I always say, Beijing and Washington are united when it comes to undermining India and when it comes to propping up Pakistan. We need to be focused on the job, and we need to procure and execute whatever is best for our country's interest. In the next video, we'll break down the entire things that we stand to get with the potential deal for the Su-57 with the Russians. We'll also address some concerns surrounding that particular deal. That was all for today, my friends. Please like, share and subscribe if you found the video interesting. Thank you so much, friends. Jai Hind. Take care.